I don't know when I started feeling serious about ceramics. I think from the very beginning. I don't think I ever really thought twice. I don't think I ever questioned. I don't think I ever really planned. I just think I just worked every day. And then all of a sudden, it was 40 years later and I was still working. So why craft? Yeah, it's just a never-ending search to close the gap between what you dream of, what you sense, that vague feeling, that vague sensibility that propels you forward, and what you get, and keeping looking, the search. Well, I started to talk earlier about June Kaneko, who was my teacher. Yeah, he was revelatory for me when I was young, when I was a student in graduate school, and we just hit it off. We had a great relationship from the very beginning, had wonderful conversations. Both of us just really deeply engaged in work and questions, and in a way very come to the material in two very different ways, two very different approaches, but ask similar questions and similar level of kind of energy and commitment, and do anything, do whatever it takes to get it done. The other thing I learned from June, which has been invaluable and used my whole life, is that everything is useful. Since you can only choose what you are aware from the bank of what you can choose from, you can only choose from what you know, from what you're aware of. So your obligation as an artist is to really expand that bank and know about lots of things and know about everything. So when you need it and you grab it, it's there for you. Also, there was an artist, she recently died, her name was Betty Woodman. One of the things that was so fantastic about Betty and her career was that her work, I should say, was that her last show was her best show. Like, she never settled. She worked and she struggled all the way up until the very end. Yeah, most of my things are organic. They kind of grow from the inside out, and wherever the work kind of presses into the world, pushes into the world, is where I kind of follow. And I also always wondered why I made what I made when it looked so different from other people. And really, I didn't want to make this thing. And I was shocked that I made this thing. I wanted to make that thing, that beautiful thing, that other thing, but I didn't. And I've negotiated the last 40 years that fine line of what it is that determines what an artist makes. Because certainly at this point in time, I could make anything. And if I couldn't make anything, I could hire someone to make it for me. So it's just, you don't want to know too much about the answer to that question either, because then you wouldn't need to keep working. But I also don't think you could ever know the answer to that question. I kind of feel like I'm at the very beginning of knowing stuff to keep working. I kind of feel like I'm just really beginning to put all the parts together, and I'm overwhelmed by what I don't know yet, a little bit. Now I'm working on combination of 2D and 3D work. I always built sculpture and I always drew simultaneously. And it used to be that drawings were like 2 or 3 years ahead. But now they're becoming one. I'm using paper with the sculpture. I'm making paintings and cutting them up and rolling them into sculptures, and then I'm combining them with ceramics. And I'm flattening out the ceramics and doing drawings on them. So both practices are kind of crashing into each other and becoming the same. And I'm really excited, and I'm gonna clean out the studio, get all these things shipped, gonna take down all the old drawings, paint the walls, and get to work just as soon as you leave, Chikara, sort of. What you think influences what you do. How you think influences what you do. In these days, very important to act. And you know, being an artist is a political act, no matter what kind of work you make.